New World Season 7, Season of the Conquerors is a little bit of a disaster. Okay, maybe disaster's a bit too harsh, but I don't think it's great. Let me tell you why. I have no idea what footage I'm going to put over this. I have recorded a bit of my gameplay, but I don't know if I recorded anything interesting, so it might just be random footage you're seeing now. Either way, a couple of days ago, on Tuesday, we had Season 7, Season of the Conquerors, and it brought with it kind of two things. It brought with it the PvP server, and it brought with it some changes to the normal servers. And I think both of them have not been good. Let's start with the normal servers actually. Basically, the main change to normal servers are the additional rewards to M3s, and the fact that the same mutation type is now shared across all of the mutations. That's actually a positive change, as well as the fact that it is now queuable, so you can now queue M1, M2, M3, apart from the fact you actually still can't pick what mutation level you're picking. It just goes off gear score, so some people are going to be trying to get an M1 but get an M3, all that kind of stuff is a little bit of a mess. It would be nice if we could actually just pick, but it's the rewards that are really the problem. Put simply, what they've done is that they've added a new type of material that you get from the mutations M3s. You need to do, I think, 40 silver runs or 10 gold runs before you can craft one of these new boxes, except you also need this thing from called like a damaged eye from the Gorgon trial, and a new material that I actually don't know what it's called. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then you do all that and you open a box, and it's I think it's just one item that can be up to gear score 725 with random perks. Now, for most people right now, this is completely pointless. New World Aeternum has been out as it is for around about 3 and a bit months at this point. This is basically progression that most people are past, and even if they weren't, it's kind of redundant because by the time people are doing these mutations, you need to have something from the Gorgon, so you're doing the Gorgon as well, and then you're going to get gear from the Gorgon, from the PvP track, and all kinds of stuff. So it's kind of pointless. It's 3 months too late, and it's kind of pointless. Nothing awful. It's not like the worst thing in the universe, just a bit pointless. A bit redundant. There are some new artifacts, which some of them are kind of good. Apparently the fire staff has this like possible dot build, which is looking good. Yeah, they're all right. And then there is almost literally nothing else. There's a lot of fixes, but there's almost literally nothing else. There's also some things that are broken, by the way, even though we were promised, you know, we will pay attention. We will make sure that there's a high quality update. Ah, yeah, well, it's not exactly been that. Protection amulets, for example, are just not working. It's also worth considering what they've kind of tried to change in Season 7 for the normal servers, but failed. The blunderbuss has this like inaccuracy kind of added to it, but it's not really doing very much. And it's also had this damage nerf reduced, like withdrawn, so it's actually pumping with the damage again. The potion change, as far as I can see, is just simply horrendous across the board. I'm not sure why they think that's a good idea. And I'm a little bit worried that they looked at all of the stats in the game and they saw that on average the time to kill for everybody was going up on average without realizing that it was simply those unkillable tanks that was probably bringing up the number. I'm a little bit worried they then decided to bring the time to kill down based on that without actually just fixing the tanks. They have now fixed mostly those unkillable tanks, but also bringing them the time to kill. It's just awful. Outpost Rush is basically like ranged and heavy boys again. The potion change seems awful. I didn't kind of realize this. I'm not 100% sure because I've been playing on the seasonal server, but the nerf to self-healing may have affected like leeching and shirking heals. And if that's the case, that's going to make like melee just unbearable as well. It just really feels like some bad changes across the board. Like the patch notes had a lot of fixes written in them, but a lot of them were just typos. And then they've got them breaking certain things with the game again anyway. So yeah, I think overall simply disappointing. I may call it a disaster, but I'm clickbaiting you. It is what it is, get clickbaited. So that's normal servers, people who haven't done the seasonal server. The seasonal servers have also been, well, a little bit weird. I'll describe them in 3 words and then I'll explain what I mean. They've kind of been fun, they've been toxic, and mostly unpopular. So first, I think I need to talk about the very idea of seasonal servers. For an MMO, I do not like that idea. I think it splits the player base. I think it's a little bit tiring to have to re-level the character. For me, an MMO is all about like long-term progression rather than resetting progression. So I've not really been a big fan of the idea of seasonal servers just straight off. And then on top of that, this seasonal server is all about PvP, and it's basically always on PvP, except obviously, you know, your faction, you can't fight your own faction. And as I said, it's kind of been fun for me. Day 1 was really enjoyable, but also toxic. Day 1 was fun. We got a group together. We were running around together. We were moving together. We were trying to do the MSQ. Actually kind of enjoyable to do that. That's why people play those games, I think, on some level. Day 2 was quite different. It was basically just doing the MSQ and people were just leaving people alone, we were all chopping down trees because chopping down trees is the best way to level. Everybody kind of figured that out. I didn't chop down trees day one because it would be a little bit boring. I mean, I chopped down a few, but I didn't do it like all the time. But it's kind of been sad that the best way to level has been to chop down trees, convert them into this ethereal dust, and then convert that into the animus boxes. That gives you like 2,500 XP. And that's the best way because most people aren't all over the map. So people were doing that. And what was happening is on the MSQ, a lot of people would get like high level and then camp it and just kill people as they came past. That persisted also into day 2. It's not really affected me so much. It did affect us on day 1, but it was kind of fun. On day 2 and 3, I'm already level 65, right? It's not really a massive problem. But there's also the issue of not just people camping like the MSQ and killing people through choke points. There's people who are now high level killing low levels. There's people who are level 65 killing level 15s because part of one of the rewards says go out and kill 400 people. So people are doing just that and they're the easiest targets. So for me, day 1 was fun. Day 2, not so much. It was a little bit boring. Day 3 has actually kind of brought the enjoyment a little bit back for me because I'm now entering that phase of actually doing the progression. Like I'm actually working on my gear score. I may actually end up doing M3s, which will be ironic considering I just slagged them off. I doubt it though, it's going to be too hard. I might as well just do Gorgons. It's kind of fun to go out and gather and PvP. For example, gathering is still actually quite good because that's how you get the ethereal gear and then ultimately the Conqueror's gear. And I was gathering today and we fought over some hemp and we fought over some silk and it was, you know, actually kind of fun. That's, I think, what PvPers enjoy. I'm not really an open world PvPer. I think it's very bad. And I think this server is kind of showing why. The toxic levels are through the roof for some people. Some people are just doing it because, you know, they fancy it and I don't really respect that. And some people are doing it for the rewards and that kind of makes sense, right? Ultimately, it's been toxic. There's no two ways about it. And do you know what's kind of sad? This whole season has been kind of unpopular. And that goes back to, I personally don't think that open world PvP works in an MMO, at least not without like corruption systems and criminal systems and stuff like that. And do you know how many people came back for season 7? Not a very high number. So we peaked, I think maybe on the Monday or something like that, around about 12,000. And then on the Tuesday, we peaked at 17,000. Now, actually, that's 5,000 people, and you can typically expect it to be maybe up to 10 times more than that. Because, you know, averages work like that. Not everybody's playing all the time. But increasing your peak from 12,000 to 17,000 is not exactly a massive success in my eyes. And that's basically where we are right now. If you're a normal player to this game and you didn't want to play on these PvP servers, which a lot of people do not want to play on these PvP servers and simply haven't. I think actually New World themselves put up a tweet or something, a poll, and I think around about 75% of people said, I ain't playing it. And a large chunk of people would have tried it, got ganked or something by some higher levels, higher numbers, and just ditched. But my main point was that there's not much for people who are just doing the normal server, right? These M3 extra rewards, not going to bring anybody back to the game. It's just a slight improvement to a system that should have already have been thought about and already have been approved and done 3 months ago. It should have been done 3 months ago when New World Aeternum launched and we actually had everybody on the Fresh Start servers. It's kind of sad if you're a PC player who didn't want to play Fresh. Maybe you didn't even want to play Fresh 3 months ago. If you're still on Legacy and you don't want to do the PvP servers, like, when did you really have content? You had the Gorgon and the PvP zone that most people don't go in. That would be a bit of a yikers, really. And even if you did Fresh with Aeternum, but you don't want to play the PvP server, this patch does literally nothing for you, really. The only people sort of experiencing anything new is the PvP server. And for me, it's kind of been enjoyable, right? The day 1 was fun. Day 2 was boring because we were basically just chopping down trees, to be honest with you, because it was the quickest way to level. So we did it. We also did a bit of the MSQ, but nobody was really killing each other. And then day 3, as I said, and hopefully going into day 4 and 5, it's been a little bit more enjoyable because we're actually farming, but there's a lot of people farming out in the open world, PvP flags. Some people are fighting, some people aren't fighting. That's kind of fun. We also did a chest run. You know me, I absolutely love chest runs. That's a joke. I hate chest runs. Please remove them from every MMO going forward in the history of MMOs. But we did a chest run and there was PvP there. There was some greens and we were like trying to coordinate in faction chat. We're like, pull back, let's go, let's push. Kind of fun. I was in kind of scuffed gear, so I didn't really actually do too much of the PvP. But yeah, some people want that, but it's not exactly brought people back, right? The numbers don't really show that this has been a massive success. Now, you could argue a variety of different reasons for that. Maybe some people didn't want to be cutting down trees all day. Well, you didn't know you'd be cutting down trees until it was live and the numbers still didn't come back. So the reason that a lot of people didn't come back at the start is actually mostly because of marketing. There's not been much marketing. Amazon have just kind of done this very quietly, really, and the numbers reflect that. My very cynical take on this really is that I think these seasonal servers are simply designed to milk. I think Amazon are now trying to milk as much money from New World as possible. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's obviously a business's like whole thing to try and make money, and so they are. Rise of the Angry Earth got money from PC players. New World Aeternum got money from the console players. They've also been doing those funky mounts. There's also cat ears now and a frog helm and all this kind of stuff. And if you think about when does New World make money, the seasonal stuff doesn't really make them money. Like bringing people back to the game doesn't make them money unless they spend money, obviously, unless the players spend money. Well, the PvP seasonal server, you can only get the journey, the little extra journey rewards, which is something like 5 skins and then a box that has like a trophy in it or something. I can't remember exactly what it is. I think it's got a little sausage trophy, which is kind of cute, but it's 5 skins and that, and you have to have the premium pass to get those rewards. So I kind of feel like the whole seasonal is pretty much a way of trying to get people to buy the premium passes, because the people aren't really buying the premium passes when it's not a fresh start server. The value of the premium pass drastically goes up on a fresh start server. So maybe they're thinking, well, we have fresh all the time, we will sell more season passes. And it may work because I bought the season pass. I'm guilty of that. But the cynical person in me says this is simply a way of them getting more money for less effort. And it might work and people might enjoy it. But I think these PvP servers, as of right now, are not looking like a huge success. It might turn on a dime a little bit as people get into the end game. Maybe the farming will be interesting. I do kind of have a problem with the loop. The loop is basically farm to get ethereal gear, to get conqueror's gear, to get more ethereal gear, and to get more conqueror's gear. Like, there doesn't seem to be a payoff to the loop, but maybe it gets more fun as we go. Maybe. Kind of doubt it. Ultimately, I'd love to sit here and tell you I think Season 7 has been a big success and it's one of the greatest ideas of all time. But really, I don't believe in the idea of seasonal servers, and I think open world PvP games typically are not very popular, and nothing in this update has changed my mind. Now, they obviously could have done a better version of it, like, you know, maybe make it so you're not cutting down trees and incentivize PvP in a good way. Maybe not have level 65s killing 15s, maybe have a 5-10 level difference max or something. But they've not done that. It's too late. It is what it is. Let me know your thoughts. They're my thoughts right now. Let me know your thoughts. If you want to come and talk to me, I'll be streaming on Friday. We'll be doing it on Saturday. We're going to try the Gorgon, by the way, on Fresh. Well, not Fresh, seasonal. We're going to try the Gorgon. Check out my New World tool, by the way, the calculator. Insane, best around. Check it out. Put your link in the description. Have a beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.